Alrighty, got another video to put on. You're looking at some K Line. I guess they used to call them Super Snap. 072 switch. Anyway, I just got a couple of these, couple of right-handers. Ran across them on eBay, and I've always wanted to get some of these and see how they perform. And basically, it's a I guess K Line's own design. It used to run. You could run it with that shadow rail track and everything. This part here, the center rail is blackened out. Anyway, I've been messing around with this thing for a couple of hours because when I first got it out of the package, well, this is the packaging for one thing. This is Aristo or Ready-Made Trains. They took over selling these after K Line, went out of business or got sued or whatever the hell it was that happened to them. And so they had a bunch of these left over, and what I understand, they repackaged them and sold them till most of all the stock is just about pretty much gone nowadays. And then something happened to the tooling to where they don't have it anymore, or anyway. Anyway, long story short, I always wanted, because these were supposedly the Cadillacs back in the 90s and around the 2000s of 072 switches, before Fast Track came along. So anyhow, I did a little reading up on them, and I've been playing around with them. And the first thing I had to do was take I use these little soft, spongy, emery sandpaper pads, and I had to basically go in here. There was a coating of all this the black finish and everything, because an engine wouldn't even run through here until I cleaned all that off. And that seemed to work very well. Then I read some stuff on the forum where this rail right here from the factory would not change polarity when you switch the points. In other words, this is supposed to be dead and this is supposed to be dead when you're going over it with the roller. And the remedy for that was to put and if it wasn't working, it would spark, and sure enough, I tested it, and both of them, this rail was still hot. Either way the switch points were thrown. So the remedy was to take a piece of electrical tape, which I did here, and went over the top of this from, where the roller starts to where it starts over here. I went a little further than that, and that seemed to cure that problem. And of course, any kind of switch, I've said this, in other videos, you got to do some kind of filing on just about any kind of turnout. The biggest problem with these right here was matching this up to regular. This is Bernard's track. There's these little tabs on here for using the snap-on connectors that the shadow rail used to come with, and basically that thing is kind of still on there, and it kind of pushes this rail up. So if I was going to permanently mount these, I'd take those plastic connectors off, and that would solve this problem. So I'm having a bump there and a big bump over here, but I was just doing this for temporary to see how they would run. Anyway, I picked up a pair of these. This is the paperwork that comes with it. Seem to be really pretty high quality. These little LEDs, they light when you switch you change, track. It lights up, which is pretty cool. And then you can, hook it up here. Which this is okay. If this ever burns out, though, you're going to have a little bit of a problem. But what I understand is these are built to where they're just about burnout proof, but I really don't know. Anyway, I've got on the track here that MTH 280. I just got this one. Now, this is not the Loco Sound one. This is a Proto 2 I picked up about the same time I got the other one. I think this is like a 1998-99 version. Anyway, I've been running them. They run really smooth. All the MTH engines. I've got 3 of them. They run pretty good through these switches. They don't bump or jump too much. But like I said, you got to file any rough spots down, with just about any kind of turnout. I just was curious to see how smooth they would be. MTH stuff seems to track better anyway through all the track I've ever used before. Atlas, or I don't know, even the old Lionel stuff. Okay, things giving me a problem stopping. Anyway, this is that little Line Chief engine I've got. It runs okay through switches. It's just about any switch. It bumps a little bit, which I don't really have a problem with it bumping. It's just kind of irritating. But some of them, like this one though, runs right through there without an issue. Freight cars, they all run really smooth through it. Never have a problem usually with any kind of switch in O-gauge with freight cars, because they got especially with the fast angle wheels. I mean, they tend to kind of glide through just about anything, at least in my experience. The biggest problem that you have that I've ever seen is basically these small wheel-based locomotives, because this frog, it bottoms out on some wheels. It'll just bottom out on, but the MTH one seems to ride across on the flange. But I'm not real sure about that. The most finicky engine that I have is this little Thomas engine, and it did okay through it. I mean, about like it did through the Ross. One thing I did notice in comparison to the Ross, I'll show you here. The guardrail here, you see that distance in there is pretty good. I'm not sure what that measures, but it's pretty wide right there. And I think a little bit of the problem with some of these engines is it's picking the point here a little bit, possibly. If you go over here and look at the Ross, you see that's a lot closer to the guardrail is a lot closer to the outside stock rail, you see. So that's where the Ross wins. Another place Ross wins is your switch points here. There's nothing cut into the rail on here. It just mashes up against that rail. So you don't have that little cutout part. And I've noticed on this one, not so much after I filed it, but that little cutoff part right there, there's a little bit of you basically, if it's riding the rails close to this, the wheel's right there, and it hits that, sometimes it jars the locomotive. But I filed that down a little bit, and that seemed to help. Of course, when it's like this, it ain't going to matter. And usually like this, the pressure's on this stock rail here, you're not going to hit that. But when it's straight, it could go against this side, or it could hit this side. That's the only negative to that I've seen. However, these have metal frogs, which I really like having metal all the way through a turnout. I don't like any plastic, and this has metal on everything, which I like that. The ties look good. They look as good as Ross do, I think. Except for obviously the switch machine, but this isn't so noticeable. It kind of looks like a loading platform or something. But anyway, I picked these up. I got them for like 49 bucks a piece, which I couldn't pass it up. I've been wanting some of these for years and years, and I didn't want to bite when they were selling them from, somebody was selling them for, oh gosh, they were $100. That was 10 years ago. It was just too much for me. And at that time, Fast Track was actually probably about the same or cheaper, so I went with the Fast Track, back in the middle of 06, 07, 08 when I started first putting the no-gauge layout out here. But anyway, they look really good. I think if you like that, maybe you can see it a little better. And engines, they run okay with them. Haven't really had any engines that I really thought were just horrible. I do have a Marks that I went through there, and it was having a problem, but that Marks is missing a traction tire, and that was causing a problem. Wasn't the switch. Yeah, see, like this MTH, it just glides through here like glass, which it glides through the Rosses too, same way. So if you can find these and you use shadow rail track or whatever, I'd grab some of them if you can, especially at that price I got them at, somewhere around there. The Ross switches are running like $130 a piece now, and if you you want to, go bankrupt real fast, you can buy some of those. And unfortunately, Fast Track's in the same situation with the prices. I just wish that, personally, that Menards would come out with some type of a turnout, and I wish it was like this. I wish they would pattern their track after this and not after Fast Track with a base or nothing like that. Maybe they'll just stick with the old tubular switches if they can get them. Somebody's got to have the old tooling for the old Lionel stuff, so maybe Menards will do that. I don't know. If they could find this K Line stuff, tooling would be awesome. I've heard it's gone, though. I really don't know the story on that. Maybe one of y'all do. But the K Line stuff seems to be really good. And I like this switch. It's very clean, all metal. Seems to be pretty durable. We'll see how it lasts. I don't know when or where I'm going to put this on the layout because I really needed two left hands and all I had was right hands. But I got a pair of them anyway because down the road I'm sure I can put another pair of switches somewhere. Maybe even use them in the yard. I don't know if I ever get to that point. But anyhow, I did some tinkering with it. Like I said, cleaned the rails off, did a little filing here and there. They seem to be pretty good. I didn't try out the lever on it, the flip lever, to see how the switch machine worked. But to me, I'm sure that's not going to be an issue. But anyhow, if y'all know anything about these, like I said, the biggest negative is this rail right here. I had to put this electrical tape on because I'd read that on the forums to where basically, I don't know if it's this end or this end, they didn't cut the power to it. The power is getting to it somehow, and it's not. This is just supposed to be dead so the roller can, roll over it. Works okay when it's going like this. This rail goes dead, but when it's going across here, this stayed alive somehow. So anyway, piece of electrical tape, that's an easy fix, But anyhow, if y'all got any comments about it, I'd love to hear them. Anything else I might need to know about them. Anyhow, that's all for now.